Yes, people, welcome back. And it's match week 5 of the Premier League, and we have some exciting fixtures for you. We have the Merseyside Derby coming for you. We have London Derby between West Ham and Crystal Palace. We have Manchester United and Chelsea searching for proper run of form in the Premier League. And not only that, but we have a title race match and a big encounter between Pep Guardiola and Arteta. So just stick around with me and let's get into it right away. So before we do all that, we have to first rate the fixtures for the week in order for us to understand the Premier League preview. So here we are. We have the Merseyside Derby kicking it off early. And then we're going straight down to the London Stadium where we're playing against Brighton and Tottenham. Now, really good game. Looking forward to seeing both managers cancel out each other. As you know, that's their basics philosophy. And then we have Burnley versus Nottingham Forest. West Ham versus Crystal Palace, as West Ham's looking to have a better run of form. We have Wolves versus Leeds. Leeds look like they're the first team I have identified to go down. Not only that, but Manchester United playing Chelsea now. That is the big game, the big talking point. This is the big match for the week. As well as Fulham versus Brentford. Nice game. I think Fulham and Brentford is going to be a game full of intensity. 90 minutes, all out. And then you have Bournemouth and Newcastle. Sunderland, Aston Villa. Aston Villa still looking to catch a run of form. Scored their first goal throughout the whole season by Harvey Elliott. So they're still struggling. Ollie Watkins struggling after having a few big moves turned down from January, even the summer. So there's a lot of things happening. And the big game of them all is Arsenal versus Man City. So, the Merseyside Derby. We have heard a lot of things that has been going on in the background with people talking about how much Liverpool spent, and Liverpool's late game heroics has shown that they are a team in really good form. And at the end of the day, you know what, sometimes no matter how much you hate a team or you like a team or you hate watch, you have to be honest and real about what's happening. And at this time, this team just don't know how to lose. They have a really good form from winning. They're in really good form, but for me, this is a worry because they're having to win too many games late, and there comes a time when you have to somewhat dominate the game. There have to be times when you dominate teams, because if you keep letting teams back into games, there comes a time when you're not going to be able to win all those games. And the minute they stop having these close wins, the narrative will change a lot. They've won at least 4 or 5 games already this season, all based on late heroics. It was 6 games into the season, 5 games into the season, they've won 3 at least by late heroics. So they have to really start to catch proper form. People might call this form, but for me, I would be a bit worried. Now, a lot of people have been talking about how much money Liverpool spend and all this kind of conversation. Arne Slot wasn't having it, man. Arne Slot literally said that he's not gonna accept the fact that people think that Liverpool spent too much money. So this is what he had to say about the situation. I feel like the way he answered, you gotta respect this guy. One thing I must say about this guy, he surprised me. His charisma, his confidence, everything that he has shown as a manager, coming from, Holland, not being so confident. I think Ten Hag took a lot of blow for him as well. Because Ten Hag come being there, taking all that backlash, him coming in with to a good team, kind of helped him as well. So it all adds up. But this is what he had to say anyway.
Everyone that we've spent so much, because that tells you that the players we've brought in are seen as very good players. So I'm for a part responsible of bringing the players in as well, together with some other people. And I think we should see this as a compliment, that everybody is like, wow, they did great business. And I think we did. We brought in great players, and to add to that, we've already lowered the age of the players. So some other teams prefer to bring in 27-year-olds because they're already, ready. But we think we've brought in players from 21, 22 that are ready, but also 21, 22. So
You can't really hate on what he's saying, and I agree. As much as it pains me as a Man United fan, he is actually talking the truth. Now, I'm hoping that Jack Grealish can do some damage in this game. Do I really think it's going to happen? I'm not quite sure. You have to wait until my predictions after this to really see what I think and who's going to win that game. But I do believe, though, Jack Grealish plays a massive part in this game. And not only that, we're going to see Ekitike coming off of the left wing, I think. And I think we're going to see that combination of Ekitike and Isak, possibly. Also, we can see Ekitike starting the game and Isak having a bit of rest because he played a bit over the margins of which the manager wanted him to play. So I can see him being a substitution as well. But I'm waiting to see that Ekitike and Isak link up. I'm not quite sure if we'll see it against Everton, but I'm hoping we see it in their next fixture. But Jack Grealish will have something to say in this match. Jack Grealish, when he is the man, is a problem. Let's get that right. And we have to be honest, at the end of the day, the guy is a class player when he's on it. When Jack is on it, he's good. He's really good. Now, he has a lot of competition to get in the England team with the Marcus Rashfords of the world, the Anthony Gordons of the world. He has a lot of players to come, the Ezes of the world to compete with. But I think he has a really good chance. If he does what he needs to do, he can get on the plane. Will he start over Rashford? Especially watching some of those performances, Rashford starting to pull up and catch form. I don't really know. Rashford too dynamic. But in terms of him being in that team, I think he can play a part. Now, let's head down to watch Brighton play Tottenham. And Thomas Frank has Tottenham playing really well. He won his Champions League debut against Villarreal, which was a big thing for Thomas Frank. I think a lot of people are doubting the fact that Thomas Frank took a Brentford, let them stay up in the Premier League, using a minimal to no budget and having massive impacts, probably producing some of the best strikers over the last 2-3 years in the league in terms of output per quality. And it's just amazing to see what he has done with Brentford. Now, in terms of Brighton, they had that rumour with Manchester United with Baleba, and I think their coach is excellent. Young, German, it's the young Jurgen Klopp. And for me personally, this game is going to be a game of two systems, but both managers trying to cancel out each other. There is so much that you can say and about high praises of both of these managers. And I feel like we will see it in the quality of how their teams play. Now, Danny Welbeck's going to be a problem in that game. Baleba, he hasn't really hit the form that he should. Because I think that rumour for a 20-year-old of not getting the chance to go to a Manchester United, which is probably the team he supported, especially knowing these Africans. They love Chelsea, they love United. And they love an Arsenal. So just thinking about it, like I can actually see a place where he's not in the right place mentally. And big up to the coach for seeing that, taking him out the limelight, seeing that he needs a bit of time to start to get his head back into training. And he probably get his move in January, hopefully. Now, Burnley is one of the teams for me we have to sit down and talk about. Because don't get me wrong, right? A lot of people talk about Ange Postecoglou and say Ange Postecoglou is this type of manager because of what he did in Celtic. And I'll say it again, he beat a poor Manchester United squad in the final of the Europa League. We can get that right. We can all be honest about that. I just don't get excited by Nottingham Forest. You understand? Forest is out of the Carabao Cup. Okay, Manchester United too. But he has been in that league for a longer time. He understands the league. Yet he goes to play against Swansea. The same type of football that got him sacked at Tottenham. How is anyone thinking that that type of football with players who needs to play in a low block is going to be great for them? It doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. There comes a point within our time where we have to think for a second and analyze football, not based on biases, but based on facts. Ten Hag is a better fit for Nottingham Forest than Ange Postecoglou. Am I lying? Now people say you're mental. But first of all, Ten Hag can play in a low block, yeah? But I'm not saying Ten Hag is the man. I'm just saying the media will damage managers like that because of who they coach, but not actually pushing the facts that at the end of the day, this guy never came below 8th. And he won a cup in that same season. So his worst finish is even better than an Ange Postecoglou. And sometimes it's just, I just don't see how Forest goes after Ange Postecoglou after watching him at Tottenham. And then you give him a pool of players that is not even close to what Tottenham have in quality. Why y'all think it's so easy for Thomas Frank to just fit in? It's because the quality of the players are good. They bring in more quality added to that quality that they have. A Kudos, a Javi Simmons. Yeah, you add that to a Madison, to a Bentancur. Oh my God, you add that. What are you talking about, man? You're adding quality on some nice players. You know, Basuma hasn't even featured for the season. And I think he might be on his way out the door because his attitude and how Thomas Frank has spoken about him makes me realize he's probably already annoyed with Basuma. But just looking at all that, like, in Nottingham Forest, and Postecoglou can't handle that team. But anyways, let's talk about West Ham into Crystal Palace. Graham Potter is in some fucking trouble, okay? Let's be honest. Graham Potter might be in some serious trouble. West Ham playing Crystal Palace might just be the game that sinks the nail in his coffin. Now, don't get me wrong. West Ham is playing a lot better football. In terms of the quality of how they build up the play, how they are attacking, it's a lot better than what they were on the David Moyes, no doubt. But are they going to be competitive like what they were on the David Moyes? I don't see it. Yes, they're starting to get to that tiki-taka, not tiki-taka, but that Brighton sort of slow build-up, breaking the lines. And that is dangerous for some of the quality of players West Ham have. Because if you can unlock a Lucas Paqueta, a Jared Bowen, you can unlock a Somerville. You know, you're unlocking some really high talented players. So that is not bad for them to play that way. But I don't think their whole squad is capable of maintaining that level of football for a long period of time, which is why I think they might struggle. Now, Crystal Palace, one of my favorite managers over there, playing really well. Yo, it is hot in here, hey? Playing really well. And I just think that Oliver Glasner has done so much for Crystal Palace that if he decides to leave tomorrow, he's done more than a lot of managers have done at that club. He deserves a lot more respect than what he's getting at the moment. And I feel like they should have tried to invest a bit more into the team to help him out. Now, I don't know what the issue is. Why Palace didn't do all they can to make sure, one, they got into the Europa League, but also two, they gave this man a bit more. But I'm hoping to see they actually take strides forward into being a bit more competitive, because you can already tell by the result against Millwall that they are struggling. They are struggling for depth. They need depth in their squad. They have no rotation. It's the same players all the time. And I'm actually scared for injuries for these players. Because at the end of the day, the Premier League is rugged. These players are playing a lot more games than they're actually accustomed to per week. So it's all about the manager managing them right and managing them to keep the quality high. Because that's the key. You can manage your squad and the quality drops, but it's about managing your squad and letting the quality stay high. Now, we're looking at the other game here is Wolves versus Leeds. Leeds for me going down. Leeds gone. Leeds gone. No. It's hot, people. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm sweating so much right now. Leeds is gone. Leeds is gone. Trust me, Nakoshi. Leeds is gone. Leeds got to go. Leeds football is atrocious. Leeds have no attackers. I don't know why they didn't go and invest into quality. How are you investing into a Dominic Calvert-Lewin? And then I had people like Stephen Howson and so talking about we should go get a Calvert-Lewin. That sometimes when these guys wake up now, I'm telling you now, sometimes I don't know, I don't want to say it, but you have to think, bro, what are you on? What substance are you using that generate that brain to think that is even a logic? As a stopgap? No. As an opportunity? No. As a free agent? Hell no. Nothing. He should never even have been mentioned with Manchester, much less United. Oh, what is it? Stay where you are, bro. Stay where you are. There's so many older players you can go and get now that could have been a stopgap. I would rather go back and get a Walt Weghorst than bring a Dominic Calvert-Lewin back to Manchester United. At least with Weghorst, you know, oh shit, an older kind of profile like Seshko. Let's go. Hard working, he probably could teach Seshko a few things. So I would rather have done that than waste money on a free agent of a Dominic Calvert-Lewin. But any which way, let's talk about one of the big games for the weekend. Manchester United versus Chelsea. Garnacho, I reckon he's in some serious trouble for some booze coming his way. But not only that, Manchester United have not lost to Chelsea at home for a very long time. So I don't expect that record to be broken, Ruben Amorim. Now, in terms of the football, Manchester United is not in a good place. Yeah, they're hitting a lot of high metrics in terms of chances created, touches in the opposition box. But at the end of the day, right, lads, you know, all that matter, you win or lose. Not even draw. Because for me, when you draw, it feels like a loss. Or even if you're 1-0 down all game and you come back, why were you 1-0 down all game and you come back? What could we have avoided that put us in that situation? Did we give up a silly goal? Was it a really good goal? Could we have avoided the throw-in before they got possession? How did we lose possession before the team got possession? Could we have avoided that? Should we have had a better pass? So all these things for me, I answered those questions. So for me now, when I look at Manchester United versus Chelsea, I don't care about all these metrics United fans talking about. We need to win. And that is the key to this. A win here is important for United, but a win here is important for Chelsea. They are unbeaten in 3. They need a result. They lost to Bayern Munich in the week. If they lose to United here, United is on 7. Chelsea is, I think, on 8 or 9. So it's not like... And this result here can really boost United into a better place. Now, this might not take them out to the bottom half of the table, but what it might do is help them with momentum. Now, there's a lot of teams drawn for 4th, 6th, 5th. Like, the league is still young. When we reach the week 10, 12, when the league starts to shape up based on 6-point lead here, 8-point lead here, 3-point lead here, they start to get a bit of separation. Then we can start to understand what the table is shaping up to look like. But for now, yeah, like, we have to really just understand that this is a must-win for both teams. Both teams need it. Now, in terms of managers, Maresca's might probably be in a better place in terms of where his team is at. He just won the Club World Cup. But Amorim now, he knows he needs another result in order to maybe keep his job. Now, I'll go more into the preview of this game. As you know, we have a Manchester United preview, of course. But I just have to show you that I think both teams are struggling for a bit of form. I think both teams are trying to build themselves into the season. And also, I don't think either manager is happy yet with their starting team. even if Chelsea just spent $1 billion on theirs. But I just don't think he's fully, like, I think maybe they're happy with the players that they have, but in terms of having their full starting team, I don't think they have it. And I think both managers are still looking for that. But in terms of transfers, let's talk about Fulham versus Brentford, because this is a match here that I know for me is going to be intensity 100%. You know, all the players in these teams are just hard-working. Yes, they have skill. You know, the Damsgaards, the ML Smith-Rose, quality players. The Reece Nelsons, you know, the Brian Brobbies of the world, the Alexi Weebies. So it's going to be a good game. But each player that I've called here, yes, they are technically, but their work rate is immensible, each one of them. And they all play at a very high intensity. And for me, that's why I think this game is going to be full of intensity, because both managers also love intensity by players that play with the intensity. And look, let me tell you something. Fulham have a young winger they call Young Willian, yeah? What a player. What a footballer. Yeah? On the weekend, he's going to cause Brentford a lot of problems, that young winger. I just can't remember his name, man, right now off the tip of my head. But it just came to me that this guy is going to be a top player. He's electric. He's quick. He's fast. He moves along the ground really well. He links up play. He looked really good in the cup game. Let me check it up right now for you guys. Let me just check it up on the stream right now as we do this. Newcastle, new winger, Fulham. New winger, Fulham. Yes, his name is Kevin from Shakhtar Donetsk. What a player. Trust me, what a really good player. And he's going to cause a lot of problems. And not only that, but he's going to be one of the players that surprises us a lot for this season. Just like this other player that I'm about to talk about, which is, Johan Wizza. Now, Johan Wizza is going to change the way Newcastle play. I think a lot of people are taking Wizza like he's some joke player, but I don't think people really understand the quality of Johan Wizza. And again, we have to respect Thomas Frank for what he has done for Brentford. Thomas Frank has shown us that Brentford is that team. He is that man who is really good with strikers. I'm telling you, Thomas Frank, look at Richarlison. And I just think once Thomas Frank touch a striker, he's a top player. Now you have a striker like Wizard. You have a striker like Wolvermead. You know, you have really good young and experienced striker mix, which is going to look very different from Newcastle. And Newcastle might even change the shape sometimes against certain teams, which gives them another dynamic. Now, Eddie Howe was talking about Wizard, and this is what he had to say quickly and frankly about the situation.
I wanted Johan to be fit. There's nothing personally I would have done different. I did everything we did everything we did as a football club to try and look after Johan. But it's like with any footballer, you know, when they go away on the international duty, you're not in control of the minutes they play, and unfortunately got injured. And now we just have to deal the best we can with that situation. We think he'll be out until the next international break. That is.
Hey, but that's all. Y'all realize the hypocrisy, right? So let's just talk about this for a second. Hey, let's look at the hypocrisy, right? If Man United was chasing Wizard all summer window, yeah, and then he comes to the club and he's injured when he ends up at Newcastle or United because of his situation, bro, they would be hanging United right now in the media. Remember now, Onana was playing with his friends during the summer. Yeah? Having fun with his friends. Everybody knows African pitches are shit. So for everybody that's talking about Onana, and talking about Onana like, well, him going to Africa and playing on a shit pitch is a bad thing. When half of y'all never even went to a field like that or played barefooted anywhere to understand what it means when you go back and have to play with your friends and show humility for those who helped you become the person that you are, you twats. And then y'all don't even know these things. But y'all just run y'all mouth. And then y'all have all this to say about Onana. And here is Wizard being chased all summer. Goes to play international football, comes back, and now he's injured. And the media just there, hey, Newcastle, congratulations, take care of him, yada yada, nay, whatever. Whoop-de-doo. Call Youngton and tell him I just said that shit. It's a joke. And the detail and them missing the whole picture of the situation it's what even hurts me more. Because they fully neglect this what is happening about the Onana situation just to push their agenda. And for me, that is just the worst thing you can do, man. Because at the end of the day, that is not journalism. That is not punditry. That's just, I don't even know what to call it, dude. And then we have Aston Villa. But before we talk about Aston Villa versus Sun, let's get back to Newcastle. Because I went on a rant, but I just lost it a bit. You see that manager for Bournemouth called Areola and Semenyo? These two guys might possibly be at Newcastle if Newcastle don't actually have a good run of form this season. Now, hear me out. He is probably one of the only managers other than Eddie Howe. And I'm not saying that because he's coming from Bournemouth. So nobody come and say, oh yeah, just because he come. No. Both teams seem like they have similar transfers, sort of. Their transfer windows and the way they go about transfer, like their transfer strategies are very similar. Now, hear me out. Not because Newcastle's spending more money and have the capability of spending more money. But it's the type of players and what type of player that they're targeting is what I'm talking about. Players that want to have a chance in the Premier League or have already had a chance and need a platform to be the next big thing. That is what both teams can create. That's why we see both teams, especially Bournemouth recently, seeing two of their centre-backs going for two of the best teams in the world. And then you have Newcastle, which they do give young players an opportunity. And not only young players, but any player who needs an opportunity to take that next step to a bigger team or to take that next step in their career, Newcastle can provide that step. But they're not juggernauts within themselves. And at the end of the day, they have to respect the fact that that's just the type of club that they are, no matter who their owners are, how much money they think they have. Not talking about who owners and money. Let's talk about Sunderland and Aston Villa. Now, going down to Aston Villa now, one goal in so many games is not good enough, especially with so much quality in that team. Now, you have players like Ollie Watkins, who's not started the season well. He looked a bit like he can't really deal with the pressure of not being able to go to a big club. Now, I don't feel happy when I see players like that not doing well. Because at the end of the day, it actually does affect the player. And sometimes when we look at situations like that, we think, oh yeah, he should be way better than this. But sometimes we don't really understand what this player is really going through. And as player myself, we have to really understand that some of these players just need a helping hand. Some of these players actually just need somebody to want to get the better out of them. And I feel like Ollie Watkins was in a position where Emre kind of wanted him, but didn't want him, but still didn't want to sell him, but was like, yeah, I'll still keep you if I can, but if I can sell you, then we'll get rid of you. And then here you have other players coming in, and then they're playing in front of him, and he's just like, but I want to play more. And then Emre's like, nah, but You're not this, you're good enough, but you're not working hard. It's just back and forth between them. And I get that Emery probably likes Watkins because he's the best available to him. But if Emery could have had better or do better, he showed me too many signs that he actually is willing to get rid of Ollie Watkins. The club is willing to get Ollie Watkins. And at the end of the day, if you're not the manager's favorite thing, then you just don't fit the bill. Now, what kind of striker I can see if I think they were to get rid of Watkins, he would go after. Based on the profile, I think he wants energy, channel running, but also a bit more tech. Can link up the play well. Like, I can see a Arteta at an Aston Villa. That is a Arteta for Unai Emery. Wow, what a beautiful thing. But Emery has to be careful because no manager is safe in the Prem. And with that start that he have, if he continues in that way, Aston Villa might just have to go again, maybe after Areola from a Bournemouth or even after Brighton's manager. So they can go after a few managers in the league. But let's talk about the big game and the game that we will be studying for the big game theory of next week. That is Arsenal versus Man City. Now, this is a title challenge game for sure. Both teams are challenging for the title. We both know they're good enough to challenge for the title. They've invested enough into their squads. They've shown for the last couple of years they are title challengers. So they are challenging for the title along with Liverpool and whoever else decides to join that race. Now, my thing with this is City playing Arsenal at this time of the season more suits City than it does Arsenal. Why I say this is because Arsenal, I can tell, is still catching a bit of form. Now, it might sound crazy because they've won games now. But when you're watching them play, you can tell they're still a team searching to find that right connection for them to kick off. And I hope they never find that connection, if I'm being honest. But they will. And when they do, they will kick off. And they will score consistently 4, 5, 4, 5. I'm telling you, Arsenal's going to go on a run. They score 3, 4, 5 straight. They're just going to hit teams for a lot of goals. Because you can tell they have moments now they're searching and they're finding different links within the team to unlock teams a lot quicker. And that's where they are dangerous. Not building up the play too long. Not taking your time too long on the ball. It's being in transition and running at teams a lot better. And that's that Martinelli goal we saw. Where it was bang, bang, bang over the top. Gone. And that is what you need as Arsenal. Because all Arsenal wingers are better in transition. Madueke, better in transition. Trossard, better in transition. Martinelli, better in transition. Eze, even if he's good, close ball, close feet, he's better in transition. All these guys are better in transition. So we have to be real and honest about the situation. Gyökeres, better in transition. The only player Arsenal have that probably, I would say, prefers to play not in transition is Kai Havertz. And here what? Even now Havertz takes the ball and goes with it from a deeper line and dribbles. So he doesn't mind playing that way in transition. So at the end of the day, Arteta needs to change a few things about this because Arsenal can beat Manchester City. There is no doubt for me Arsenal have a chance to beat it. Now, do I think they will? That's another question. But I do think they have a chance to win that game. Now, Man City wasn't the greatest arm against Manchester United. Jeremy Doku is a top player, and I think he's going to haunt Arsenal. If Saliba doesn't play this game, Arsenal more likely loses this game. I don't think Noni Madueke had a good game, yes, but I don't think he'll consistently keep that up. Let us not hype up these English players before their time, because at the end of the day, yeah, when we hype up these players, the higher we put them is the bigger they come down. And this is what the English media loves to do. You love to put these young players on the pedestal and then drop them down off of this pedestal as quick as they can. And we as the media, we as the people who support these clubs, fans, football fanatics, all of us need to protect these young men, especially these young black men from the English media, because they do sometimes tarnish these kids, and it's not good to see. You see situations with the Sancho Rashford and the Saka. We don't need to name it. The Antonio Semenyos, the Suarez with the Evras. It's just too much happening in England when it comes to that. And I don't really want to go on too much about that, but it's time we fix that situation, because I don't think it's prevalent everywhere in the world as much as people try to make it seem. But I do think when it comes to England, there's a lot of jealousy and a lot that happens within England that people don't talk about, and they attack these players. And it's time we put some respect on these players' names, but also it's time we try to protect these players. Now, Jeremy Doku is going to light this place on fire, as I'm telling you. He has become such an awesome talent under Pep Guardiola. What Pep Guardiola has turned him into, it's amazing to see. Especially this season, his fluidity, his calm. He has probably the most assists at City already this season. And ever since he's been debuted, he's had the most assists at Manchester City. So it speaks a lot, because he wastes a lot of chances as well to have more goals and more assists. So imagine when he becomes more efficient. And let's not forget, he's still a youngster. So at the end of the day, he still has so much he can learn as a footballer. And when you see that, that means that he's in a great trajectory. Now, what do I think? This is what my predictions would look like for the end of. So I have Liverpool beating Everton 3-1. I have Tottenham and Brighton having a 2-2 draw. I also here have Burnley and Nottingham drawing 1-1. I think Scott Parker will get his first result here. I think West Ham and Crystal Palace will have another draw. I think both managers will cancel out each other. Here we have now Wolves, I think, will smash Leeds. I think easy 3-0, 3 goals, easy, Stephen Larson. Yeah, I think Wolves will really just walk over Leeds. Manchester United, I have them beating Chelsea 3-1. It might sound delusional, but I just think if some of the players that I have in my review, I'll just name one just to say, if the Mbeumo really hits the kind of form that I want him to hit in this game, I think he's going to really drive Chelsea crazy, because just the way Chelsea plays with the space they leave in those channels for those players, it can be very dangerous. But we need him to be firing in that game. And Fulham versus Brentford, I just have Fulham kind of digging over Brentford, just because there's a little bit of experience in the coaching. And I think Fulham just have a little bit more quality than Brentford. And that's what has me giving them that win. And then you have Bournemouth versus Newcastle. I just think Newcastle, just because they're still trying to find their feet. New striker, young striker. Bournemouth a little bit, for me, a bit more structurally better at the moment. I just think they nick a win, and especially Newcastle a bit fatigued from the Champions League, a bit of build-up of games, not the deepest of squads. I know they're coming together. I just think also Bournemouth may have a chance. And Aston Villa, have them picking up their first win for the season, and I think Sunderland will struggle this season as well, even if they have really good some players coming in and they have some nice quality around. I just think that they're going to have some issues. Now, Aston Villa saying that has been struggling, so I'm not quite sure, but I just think that Villa might have something extra to beat them. And yes, I have City beating Arsenal, just because I just think, as much as I would like Arsenal to hit, as I said, a run of form, I just think City at the moment will do a better job. I think City will clock them out. I think City at the moment have a better midfield. Even if Zubimendi is probably going to try to show his quality, the real Spanish CDM is in the center, Rodri. And I think he's getting back his run of form. And City, that win against United, yes, United had more possession. Yes, United had chances to win that game, but I just still believe City will hit a run very soon. You can see it happening. And I think Haaland will be the deciding factor. I think Haaland at the moment is in a good run of form. I think he'll slot 2 behind Arsenal. So Yes, people, it's been your boy with predictions as usual. As usual. This has been another week of predictions. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the page. Keep hitting the bell for notifications. And if you think this video should be a bit shorter, or you want it to be a bit longer, or you want a bit more information on the page, you let me know what you like, and I'll work around it so we can get this show being the best one for you. We've gotten a lot of engagement on it. A few comments, so we're just trying to work around it. We've also been asked to do a Fantasy Premier League by itself. So that we will have to do and bring you a bigger breakdown of how we go about. Maybe we'll do a bit of an interactive one where we go about what we're thinking for the week, how we're doing it. So we're still working around it. Yes, people, don't forget, we're still growing. But so just hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Whichever. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Give me a like if you are a subscriber. Send a comment below. And let's keep helping me bring you great content going forward. Have a good time. And ciao, my people.